If you're struggling and you're feeling scared, anxious, sad, stuck, overwhelmed, bored, any of the above, all of the above, as we figure out what to do with ourselves in the middle of this coronavirus pandemic, then you are in the right place. Today, I'm going to talk to you about two big things that are going to be really essential for most of us in managing ourselves and our minds and emotions and being able to move forward and keep living in the middle of this. Stay tuned. I think you're going to love and get a lot out of this. If you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. If you haven't already, introduce yourself in the comment section below and also subscribe to the channel so that we can stay connected and you can get notified when my new videos come out. If you're back again, say hello as well. I love connecting with all of you. Either way, my name is Kristina, and I am a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, and the creator of the Shift Society. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I work to help heart-centered go-getter men and women break through the crap that is holding them back so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And if you are not in the Shift Society already, then you need to get in there. Click the link below. If registration is open, then join us. And if it's not open, when you click the link, then make sure you get on the wait list so that you are the first to know when we open up. Again, it is a life-changing space. Big, good things are happening there for the people in there. But talking about this, about what we are going through right now, and I'm going to talk to you about something that not a lot of us are really considering and not very many people are talking about. And that is the idea or the reality that most of us are grieving right now. Most of us are in a significant state of grief. And you might not think that you're grieving because most likely you haven't lost a loved one through this. And so you think that you're not allowed to grieve about it. You're not allowed to feel sad about it. But I want to just turn your attention towards the fact that you have lost a lot, and you lost a lot overnight. And maybe it wasn't through the loss of a loved one, like I said, but it was the loss of an idea, of an expectation, of plans, of what you thought this year was going to look like. Promotions that you were going to have in your job, transitions that you were going to be making in your job, weddings that you were going to go to, gatherings that you were planning, vacations that you had, an idea of how your life was going to go, that it was going to continue going the way that it had been going. You had plans, you had ideas, you had expectations, and many of those were taken off the table at the blink of an eye. And to understand that there is a significant sense of loss that comes with that is painful, that is difficult, that's hard for our brains to just all of a sudden adapt to that and be okay with it. And so if you are feeling sad, but telling yourself you're not allowed to feel sad because things really aren't that bad, which fair enough, yes, there's a time and place for gratitude. There's a time and place to really be present with where we are and what we have. And there's also a time and place to acknowledge our sadness, to let ourselves have those feelings. And so I want to invite you to let yourself grieve, to let yourself feel whatever it is that you're feeling without judging yourself for feeling it, without telling yourself you're not allowed to feel it, or just allowing those feelings to be present and let them process through, because fighting them and pushing them away in a lot of ways is probably what's keeping all of this extra tension inside of you, because that's just what happens when we have feelings but don't let ourselves actually feel them and process them and move with them and through them. Then they just fight back and they get stuck and they come out in all kinds of unhelpful or destructive ways. So let yourself grieve. And then on that same note, what we also have to do is we have to find a new normal in the midst of it. Because what I've been hearing from a lot of people is that they're just holding on and just waiting for things to quote unquote get back to normal. But for all intents and purposes, that is not happening anytime soon. You might be able to just white knuckle it and just hang on and just hold on and just wait for a few days or maybe even a few weeks. But at the time I'm recording this video, the information is that we are not going back to a new normal for at least a year. And I'm not saying that we're going to be stuck inside at home and we're not going to be able to do anything outside of our current circumstance right now. No, that's not it. Things will change and things will be different. We have no idea what's going to happen, but it's not there. There's really only two ways that this can go back to normal as far as we understand right now. Either a vaccine is developed, which takes at least a year, or enough people get the virus that we get herd immunity so the virus can't jump from person to person. And so then at that point, things can start to return more back to normal. But both of those things aren't going to happen in a few weeks or a couple months. And so sitting and waiting for that to happen, we are going to be missing out on our lives. And that's a significant chunk of our lives that we're missing out on if we're putting everything aside and just hanging on and waiting for several months, when we can still be living in that time. And it was just actually about a week ago when I gave myself permission to live, where I told myself, Julia, you can hang on and you can hold on and you can keep waiting for things to get better, or you can let yourself establish a life in the midst of this all. You can let yourself exist as if this is your normal life. At least for now. This doesn't mean we don't give up and don't have any hope. Of course, we always have hope. No matter what, we always have hope. And so allowing ourselves to have that hope, but allow ourselves also to live. And so a little exercise that's really going to help you with this one is to take a minute now and to imagine you are an alien coming down from another planet and you're coming down to Earth. And this is your first time here and you have no idea how human beings live. And you're arriving in this time and space in history right now. And you look around and you see the way humans live. And you think, because you've got no other context, that this is just how humans live. And you want to assimilate and adapt and adjust into the culture. And so you look around and start to figure out how you're going to live given the way this culture works. So what do? How do you live? How are you setting up your life given what you have available to you right now? Letting yourself do that, letting yourself establish your life in the midst of all of this. Because the truth is, we only ever have right now. We are never guaranteed anything else other than right now. And so if we're holding out and waiting for something else, we have no idea when that's going to come, how that's going to come, or if that's going to come. So letting ourselves live now is really our best option. Another question that I've been getting from a lot of people is, they're like, okay, great, Julia, I want to just continue to live my life. I want to create my life in the midst of all this, but I don't really have any routine. I don't know what to do because I don't have all of that external structure in my life that I used to have just, a month or two ago. So what do I do? Because I feel like I'm just sort of flailing around in nowhere and don't know where to plant my feet. And yes, because absolutely human beings do well with routine. We do well when we know what to expect. We do well when there is some structure and a plan. And I've also heard that some people have been saying that they're going to use this time to overhaul their life and to do all these things and learn all these things and create all these things and accomplish all these things and all of this stuff. And if that is a great way for you to be coping, for you to be living, for you to be doing a big shift in your life, and that feels like something that is great and exciting and empowering for you, then do it. Absolutely go ahead and do it. But if you feel stressed and overwhelmed and anxious at the thought that you have to be doing all of these new things and reestablishing a whole new life that was completely different from your old one, that's going to be really hard on your psyche for many of us. Because our brain, like I've talked about before, doesn't do well with dramatic change overnight. Our brains do extremely well with slow, incremental shifts, one little bit at a time, but our brains often find big changes really hard. And so you've already had all these big changes happening to you. You've had this huge change happening in your life without your say, or really without your control. And so piling more big changes onto yourself might be too much for many of your brains to handle. And so the easy way to do this one, the easy way to set up a new routine, is to mirror your old routine as much as possible. It's as simple as that. Our brains like familiarity. Our brains like predictability. So if you can reestablish a routine that was like the one that you had before you were social distancing or self-quarantining or sheltering in place and working from home, or, trying to figure out how to pivot things in your life, trying to figure out what to do with yourself, to mirror your old routine as much as possible. So whatever that looked like for you. So if you're used to getting up around a certain time, get up around that certain time. There can be a little bit of flexibility in that if you don't have to get up quite as early as you did before and you're not a total morning person. But do the same things. Get up, get ready. You don't have to, obviously dress in like super professional, like 3-piece suit or anything, but get dressed. Get ready, have a shower, wash your face, brush your teeth, make your bed, do what you would normally do. That sends a signal to your brain that you are ready and that you are participating and that you are here for it. And then have your coffee, have your breakfast, or whatever your beverage of choice is, or your routine of choice is in the morning. Do that and then start your day. Start your work day. Do it how you would normally do it. Take your breaks at the time you would normally take them. Have your lunch at the time, around the time that you would normally take it. Work out in the same times that you would normally work out. If you are a morning worker-outer, then work out in the morning. If you work out typically after work, then around that time when your work day ends, then go and do your workout. If you're used to going out and having a glass of wine or a beer with friends or with colleagues after work, then have a virtual happy hour with those same people. If you're used to doing some kind of hobby in the evening, if you take a class, if you go out and do some kind of creative thing, then doing something like that from home. There are tons of online classes. There are so many things being offered right now. Try to mimic your same daily routine as much as possible. Your brain is going to calm down. It's going to feel more settled because it's going to be like, oh, there it is. There's that familiarity. There's that predictability. Now I don't have to feel like I'm on quite such high alert because you've given me something that I understand, something that I've seen before. And our brains love seeing things that they have seen before. It gives us just this automatic sense of comfort and ease. The other part is on the weekends. So I don't know about you, but for me personally, up until this last weekend, I'd been finding weekends kind of tough because I wasn't putting any structure into place, because I was kind of waking up and feeling a little bit disoriented and not knowing what to do, because the normal things that I would do on the weekend are absolutely not available right now. A lot of times I would take my kids out, we'd go and do something, we'd go and do some kind of activity at a park or at the science world or at the aquarium or at some kind of kids gym or something. And that's what we would always do. But of course, none of those things are open right now. And so I've been waking up and thinking like, what do we do? And kind of just aimlessly moving through the day without a plan, without really knowing what's going on. And then that feeling when the less you do, the less you feel like doing. And then it comes to the end of the day and you feel like you want to crawl out of your skin and you're kind of frustrated because the whole day is gone. You haven't really done anything intentional and you're restless and you don't really know what to do with yourself. So you just get frustrated. I don't know if that was you or if that is you, but that was definitely me. And we don't normally have big plans on the weekends, but we normally have something that gets us out and gets us doing something and gets us engaged in something. And so that's what I just started doing, was on Friday nights, sitting down and thinking of just a general structure. I'm not someone who likes like minute by minute planning. That's not me. If that's you, then that's great. But I do like to have a general idea of what's happening. So I usually make a list of 2 or 3 or maybe 4 things that are simple things, enjoyable things that we're going to do. And it doesn't really matter what time we're going to do them. This isn't like a super strict thing, but we just have a structure. We have an idea of what's happening. And that has been really, really helpful. So giving yourself some structure, giving your brain some predictability. If you're struggling with what to do with yourself right now and can't really think of many good options off the top of your head, then I have a post for you that I actually did on my Instagram, and it's called 99 Ways to Cope. And there are tons, 99 great options on there. I'm going to put the link to that below. You can go there, you can screenshot it, you can save it, you can do whatever you want with it. But I think that's really going to help you. Also, if having a place to connect with, if learning tools to manage your mind, to keep yourself on track, to keep yourself motivated and moving forward in the midst of all of this is something that is important to you, that you want to be doing, then come and join the Shift Society. This is the work that we are doing in there. Again, the link is below. If registration isn't open when you go there, then make sure you get on the wait list. And if it is open, then get in there before we close up registration again. Like the video, share it out if you found this helpful. If people around you have been struggling with not knowing what to do with themselves, maybe even with the grieving part and not really understanding what's happening or why they're feeling how they're feeling, then make sure you do share it out with them and let me know in the comment section below so I can thank you for that. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, take good care.